Oh my goodness, I love these big ones so much. Do you need some treats? Holy moly, that's stinky. Dr. Gina and I are about to have Dora in here. Dora is a very large draft horse mare. She came in through our buyout program last week with a tracheostomy in place. Her tracheostomy was fully occluded with a mucus plug when she came in, and her respiratory rate and effort were normal. So we're hopeful that we can safely remove the tracheostomy. It smells very bad and has a lot of indications of being infected. We're gonna have to take a look at what it looks like. The type of tracheostomy that's in place is metal, and neither Dr. Gina nor myself has removed this type of a trach kit before. So we're gonna have to play around with it a little bit to see if we can safely get it out. It did appear that there were a lot of sutures involved that were catgut sutures, so those can be very reactive to tissue. We're gonna wanna remove all of those. Sometimes we leave tracheostomies open to heal by second intention. If there's a lot of infection or necrotic tissue present, we may need to do that, but my preference would be to get it really nice and clean and get it closed, because we don't want that airway open and more susceptible to infection. This is Dora. She is gorgeous and gigantic. Her smell is pretty strong, so definitely has infection, but her blood work shows that she doesn't have sepsis. So her prognosis is good. Dr. Gina got a baseline respiratory rate, which was normal. Respiratory effort is also normal. We are going to fully occlude her tracheostomy opening with a piece of plastic for several minutes to make sure that her body is able to fully compensate without having access to this tracheostomy hole. Because of the nature of a tracheostomy, she can't not breathe through it if it's there. So the only way to check and see if it's gonna be safe for her to close this is to occlude it and watch how her body responds. Hi, big girl. Thank you. I'm gonna hand this over. I don't know if you can. Can somebody note start time, please? Good girl.
She's up to 24.
Okay.
She's up to 28.
Feeling airflow out both nostrils?
Still at 28.
Okay. I suggest we sedate her and repeat under sedation. But I'm okay with a respiratory rate of 28. I mean, that basically is already closed anyway. This should turn this way, but I can't get
Maybe once you undo all the packets.
enough of a hold on it. Also, it's just like glued on here. This is so disgusting. Oh, it smells so bad. It smells so bad. This poor mare.
You want to keep that, or you want me to trash? Oh, you got both pieces.
Well, it's metal, so we can sterilize it for using it.
I totally agree with you. Let's. Caitlin, could you add chlorhexidine and water to that bucket, please?
This smells so bad. Bless her heart.
Ugh. It's so much worse underneath than I thought it would be. It's been in for so long. The smell is already so much better. We were able to remove the tracheostomy. It was disgusting. And she is able to breathe with that closed. I'm trying to get it decontaminated and cleaned as best we can before we think about closing it, because there's a lot of obvious infection and bacteria that's localized to the area. I'm gonna block it with lidocaine. It's been in there for so long that she has a lot of scar tissue, so I'm gonna have to kind of remove dead tissue and undermine so that we have enough tissue to close with. We have cleaned and cleaned and cleaned the remaining tissue. Dr. Gina just did a ring block of the affected area, and so I am now going to attempt to close the deep tissue. The trachea itself is pretty scarred, and that area can close by second intention. So instead of reopening a lot of things, I'm just gonna close the area just superficial to the trachea and probably do muscle, and then we'll wait and just double, triple check that she's not in distress, and then we'll work on skin. Skin is gonna be the most challenging part because there's so much scarring. We're gonna have to kind of mobilize skin edges a little bit. And I'm using 2-aught PDS, antimicrobial PDS, down here on this first layer.
So we took some radiographs of Miss Dora's feet because we were worried about what's inside based on what the outside looks like. And she does have some evidence of some bony changes, and she's got the little ski slope toe. That dorsal line isn't too terrible from the dorsal hoof wall. Like what we see with laminitis when we have rotation, she's got slight rotation, but when we took a DP of the foot, she has sinking. So, and you can see a little bit of sinking in this too, because here's the coronary band up here, and this is usually closer to the coronary band, but it's sunk down into the hoof capsule a little bit. But this definitely shows you that she's sunk asymmetrically, and she also has a lot of proliferation in the side bones. That's what they're called, side bones. They're not really bones, but that's what they're called. And then we did one of her left front, but she wasn't too compliant with it. So this is a little oblique because of the way she was standing on the plate. She has a little bit of not normal reaction there. This angle looks a little bit better, but she was standing on the corner of it, but this is also not normal the way the direction is. So, but she's sound. She doesn't seem painful. So we're gonna try and give her a chance and see how she does recovering with her tracheotomy closure and see how she does with that. So we're not out of the woods yet, and we'll see what the farrier Elijah can do with her feet. Look a little bit better. So we're hopeful, but we're not out of the woods yet.
We just finished Dora's surgery to remove her infected tracheostomy. The surgery went well. The tissue underneath was extremely complicated and very scarred and adhered. So our original plan was to close all of the layers of the affected area, and we ended up having to modify that significantly. She also is gonna have a very large lumpy scar there for the rest of her life, but overall, the closure went well. We were able to remove a lot of debris associated with the infection. She's not showing any signs of respiratory distress, which is wonderful. That was our biggest concern. Dr. Gina and Caitlin got radiographs of her feet. She does have some pretty significant bony pathology, but she has horrible looking feet. So we don't want to make any decisions about quality of life based on her feet until Elijah, our farrier, sees her and does some work, and we'll probably repeat some radiographs. But she seems to be relatively comfortable. She's eating, and she handled her sedation very well. So overall, really happy, and fingers crossed that we don't go into respiratory distress, that that infection doesn't spread, and that her abnormalities in her feet are comfortable for her so that she can be managed and adopted out.